Hi everyone, and welcome to my presentation using Tableau. Tableau is really considered to be one of the best data visualization tools available, and it can really help you take something that might look quite mundane in terms of data and turn it into a more appealing piece of work. And today I'll be demonstrating and showing you some of those visualizations, and I'll be doing this by using raw data that I've taken from a resource, importing that into Excel, and then using that in Tableau to provide different ways of seeing this raw data, and then you can turn this data into a visualization to present maybe to like a team or a manager, or maybe to pitch to a client. And as you can see, you don't have to just use Excel. You can use any of these file formats as well on the side. But today I'll be using Excel. And today my question I'll be presenting is, what does poverty currently look like within the United States? And I'll be actually using a couple of different data sets to show this. The first set shows lower bound and upper bound poverty levels within the United States across the different states. And if you don't know, the lower bound and upper bound can be defined by the lower and upper bound poverty lines both include non-food items. The lower measure is a person that would need to sacrifice food in order to obtain these, and the upper poverty line would be people that can purchase both food and non-food items. So yeah, let me import the first set. Hit Excel, hit my first data set. So here you can have all my information that was in Excel. It's been imported. You have the name of the state, percentage of lower bound and upper bound. If I go to the sheet, if I hit the name, which is the state, lower bound, upper bound, see the information here, and you have some suggestions of what you can use on the side here. I'm going to try and use a bar graph just to show you this initial one, and as you can see, you can have the orange lines representing the upper bound to people that aren't in poverty, and the lower bound people that are below the poverty line. And you can see all the basic sort of information. You can see that actually a lot of the states have more people that aren't in poverty, but the lines are very close to the percentage of people that are in poverty. Illinois, for example, has very close poverty lines. Some have a bit of a wider sort of discrepancy, such as the District of Columbia doesn't have nearly as many people under the poverty line. And from this information, you can actually see that there aren't really that many or any states that have people below that poverty line more than people that aren't, but it is very close. Another way I wanted to show you of looking at this data is with a map, and if you hit this ABC number here and hit geographical role and hit state province, this is going to help us look at our data on a map. You can see over here that it's actually changed to this little globe, and if you wanted to actually scroll across, you can see more of the whole United States. You can hit shift and click and sort of scroll over so it's more central. Kind of zoom in a little bit or not, and this is going to give us a visualization, better visualization sort of across the United States, and you can kind of see from this which states might have a larger gap in terms of that are more on the upper bound of the poverty line, which states aren't in poverty, and which states maybe have some discrepancy moving towards the lower bound, which is people that be in poverty. So those are a couple of different ways you can look at those visualizations. The second set I wanted to show you I open up a new set here and look at the second set of information. You can see from the data source here that none of these are actually titled. Excel didn't actually import this correctly. So you can rename these. Year, this one's white. So now I've corrected this how it was in Excel. Excel doesn't always import everything correctly, so sometimes you might need to do that in order to provide that data correctly. And you can actually see from this as well that Tableau also didn't change some of this correctly as well. I actually want this section to be a number, so it will change into this block here, and I actually need this to be a year. It's actually a number currently, so I want to change that to a date and change that so that that populates correctly. And so yeah, click on year. Now that populates as a year and not just a number. And now I can start looking at some of these as well. And I wanted to kind of demonstrate some of this data in a way that I think is easier to look at. I think a bar graph is kind of a little bit easier for this to look at. I like it a little bit more because I also want to add some sort of text to show the sort of median. And first I want to add that measure value to the race and ethnicity with the year in the names in the column section. To look at the numbers for each year, you would hit label, show marked labels, hit this. So it will show some of the marked labels initially. But if I wanted to show all of them, you would hit actually most recent, and that will actually show all of the labels. So now you can see every graph will show white, black, Hispanic, Asian numbers of the real median household income by race and ethnicity. So I actually need to change my sheet name up here as well. So it would be real median household income by race and ethnicity. And if you apply, it's going to change that. So we have our title at the top now. I also want to display all the set best option. I actually still think it looks a little bit crowded as a bar chart, and although you might think it's like easier to pick another option from the show me graphs over here, I actually like to use sometimes use this mark section here. So if I hit this circle option, I kind of like this option a little bit more. I think you can see the numbers a little bit easier. It's a little bit nicer to look at. And you can actually make the circles also a little bit bigger or smaller as well. So, you know, if you change that, you can make them a little bit easier to look at. Maybe if you're downloading this, and it won't be so hard for people to see those colors as well. Lastly, once you download this chart for an image, as an image presentation, it might not have this issue, but you can see if I scroll along, you have to sort of scroll along the chart a little bit to see all the years. As a little tip as well, you can also hit Control B if you want to make things bigger, or you can hit Shift Control B to make it bigger, and then Control B. Sorry, it's Control Shift B to make it bigger, and then Control B to make it smaller as well. So you can make it smaller. The numbers are going to get a little bit crunched together. So I want to keep it a little bit bigger, so you can see the numbers a little bit clearer. And yeah, that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching.